grave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.
Let's get into it. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's the 23rd day of January 2025. The weather alert is frightening. Multiple fires, multiple air quality warnings, multiple wind warnings. It's a lovely day in Southern California. This seems to be the number one story that's going on in the tabletop role-playing game community that doesn't involve Wizards of the Coast controversy or Harmony Ginger or whatever else. And which is probably one of the most important stories going on in the tabletop role-playing game community other than the Diamond thing. But people are seeing these posts and going, listen to him whining because he doesn't have 12 million followers this week, or whatever. People aren't really seeing the how this is affecting these people who have made this their lives. And, that's sad. As somebody who's tried to make this my life and failed, I completely understand why this is so devastating to these guys. Because, hello? I don't know what's going on with the thing. Because, I can see, this is Bob Worldbuilder's job. It's his life. And now it looks like it's changing. And whatever worked for him in the past isn't working. I don't know what works because I've been doing this on and off for 10 years and I still haven't broken 2,000 subs, which was always the goal when I started. And there's people who started like a year ago who surpassed me. Now I get why Harmony Ginger has surpassed, and I guess why Diversity and Dragons have surpassed me. And I know that I have been doing this with a lot of things against me and very little support. And, I'm at the point where it's not making me money. How much longer do I want to do it? But am I really able to get a regular job and with everything working against me? Because Lord knows I would love a part-time job. So I understand how scary this is for these guys. And I can understand also people saying, they're whining. Oh no, you only got 1,108K views, Professor Dungeon Master. Poor thing. I'm happy if I get 10 views. So I get both sides of the argument. And I get why people are just seeing these and listening to them and not feeling bad for these guys. Because it's like, again, it's the jealousy. It's the, I wish I was that successful. It's like, what are you complaining about? They don't understand that this is my life. This is my job. I have to play this algorithm game. Because if I don't, I'm screwed. This is whatever. I've invested so much time and energy in making this my thing. And now it's changing, and it's changing because YouTube changed. We even had the guy who claims he went into the YouTube offices in London and was told flat out, that's not how the algorithm works anymore. We're not going to push you. So I get every side of this argument. I understand from a business point of view, YouTube's argument. I understand the people who are suffering through this and want people to know about it. I get why Professor Dungeon Master was so upset, especially with everything he's dealing with. And I get why so many of these guys are scared and concerned because their money source is changing and they're not seeing the responses they're used to. I had another YouTuber who does something completely different, just do a video about how the numbers aren't where they were. And there's a lot of reasons why this could be happening. Now, to say, is YouTube no longer pushing D&D the way it was? It's not. Because D&D isn't as big as it was a hop, skip, and a jump ago. We had this amazing couple years where tabletop role-playing game dominated. I mean, look, in the old days when you did the search, Bob Worldbuilder or Genie D would come up as the first thing. Now it's, Wizards because they're paying for this thing. And, they know that you're going to get 56K views and 100 million views. And this is, so it makes sense that the sponsored ones are the ones that are going to get the first. But yeah, I remember when, the first thing that came up in the search was Genie, and now you don't even see her because the algorithm has changed. But the algorithm hasn't changed. The audience has changed. And what these guys are saying as they're meeting all this negativity is we have to change, guys, and you have to accept that we have changed because the audience has changed, the algorithm has changed, the world just changed. We had this great, run from 2017, 2018 to 2021 when we were making content and people were lining up to watch that content. We were getting millions of views and millions of encounters and millions of responses, and that money was trickling through, and we were able to make a lifestyle around that and then take that and spearhead it into doing other things like creating content and creating games and creating merch and living off of that, because people were trapped inside for a while, because of COVID, and we were running high off of the Stranger Things Critical Role rush. That was an adrenaline injection. And then coming out of that, we had the OGL fiasco in 2023, where Wizards of the Coast just said, I'm going to pee on all of you. And that was another injection of adrenaline into the tabletop role-playing community. That gave us Shadow Dark, and that gave us all these other games. And then Wizards of the Coast recovered the fumble, and they went running back towards the 50-yard line. And, they're not as successful as they were. And that post Stranger Things Critical Role rush is fading, but Wizards is still able to fail forward, right? Wizards is still able to be number one on the search and control the narrative. So these guys like Bob Worldbuilder and Professor Dungeon Master need to change what they're doing because the audience is fickle. The audience is fickle, guys. As somebody who worked in the studio system for 16 years on and off, who grew up in North Hollywood, who understand the wherewithal of the behind the scenes of the industries, have had so many different actors and directors and, from top of the line Oscar winners, like, George Clooney, all the way down to like second AP assistant director guy you've never heard of. And they all say the same things, don't quit your day job, always have a backup. There's actors working 9-to-5 jobs, because the algorithm has changed, the audience has changed, and they need to support, their family first and foremost. Don't quit your day job, never leave a series, do commercials if you can, don't say no to a role. You're not so big that the next failure of your next film can't kick you. If you want to be Danny Trejo, be Danny Trejo, because that guy never turned down a role, no matter what it was. Same with Samuel L. Jackson. Any role they offered him, he would take it. Because they got it. The algorithm changes. The audience is fickle. What worked a week ago doesn't work today, and it may work again. So all these people are giving crap to Bob and Professor Dungeon Master and Jeannie D because they're saying, hey, YouTube is killing me. I need to evolve. But that's true because the audience changed, and YouTube is a business, and the algorithm is telling them this isn't getting enough wherewithal. And if this isn't getting enough wherewithal, we're not making money. So then they go, okay, well, what is making money? What are people looking at right now? What does seem to be the current phase, that's got people interested? And it's anime girls with big titties. And yeah. And this is going to phase. Sure, Iron Mouse is, getting millions of followers now and millions of subs now, but that's going to fade out too. But for right now, what we like to look at is anime girls with big titties playing video games. Why? Because I don't know. Even people who don't like anime are, watching these guys and these girls and these people. I'm trying to do VTubing. It might be a little too late, but I'm trying because I understand that that's where it is. And VTubers are cool, but I also get that that's what's selling now. And it'll fade. It'll fade. Like everything else, it'll fade. And then there will be another fad that the algorithm will go, look, everybody's watching cat videos, right? Cat videos always sell, right? Cat. Right? Look at these. You know, you just do 5.2 million, 26 million from 11 years ago of tigers in boxes. These will always world. Here's a cat in a box, another cat in box, all getting hundreds of millions. So yeah, videos of cat videos will never stop being popular. Shorts are much more popular. That's the reason why YouTube increased the amount of time on shorts. Shorts used to be limited to 15 seconds. Now you can go 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or all the way up to 3 minutes, which I guess doesn't make it a short anymore, but I don't know, because our attention span is shorter. And if you're, Dungeons and Dragons guy and you do the exact same thing every week, like I do, and you don't keep it lively, people get bored. I mean, there's only so many times I can hear you talk about how to start a campaign. There's only so many times I can hear you talk about how the Broasar is dumb. There's so many times I can hear you talk about how to build traps. There's so many times I can hear you talk about change your NPCs before you get bored. And then you're like, oh, here she is again talking about her thing where the people and they were thingies, and I'm bored of that. I want to see cats in a box. And this is not just me saying this. I mean, the CEO of Netflix, when explaining why the algorithm has changed the way they present Netflix shows, flat out said, look, the audience's attention span is not what it was. So we need to make content that is interesting enough that you're acknowledging it, but not so interesting because we know that people are on their phones most likely. So it has to be interesting enough that subconsciously you know what's going on. But we also get that it's got to keep this little teeny happy midpoint where you can get what's going on, but also look at the phone. Because our brains are changing. Our brains are changing to adapt to the digital future. This is being studied by psychologists, by psychiatrists, by doctors, by people who do these thingies, and how our brains are different, than they were. Our brains are evolving to be able to take in the amount of information that the YouTube digital TV is presenting, as opposed to the way it was presenting information 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 50 years ago. So that is why you see changes in the way TV shows and ads and YouTube is presented, which cycles all the way back to all these videos about all these guys saying YouTube is killing D&D. YouTube is not killing D&D. Wizards of the Coast is killing D&D. But damn! No, but we were always a niche, 10 years ago when I started this, I was lucky if I got 5 views. Then I was getting like 2,000 views and I was like king of the world. And now I'm back to, an average of 100 views. So it was always a niche. And then it wasn't a niche and people just sort of forgot that, we were only popular guys for like a couple minutes. And that popularity wave, it's going to fade out. And it is fading out. And that's completely understandable. It sucks. It sucks for people who are established, whether they be huge like Professor DM or teeny like me, because I want to keep growing and I don't know if I can. It sucks even more for somebody who's just like going, I want to start doing this now, because unless you can present something that is completely original, it's not going to work, guys, unfortunately. So you might have to become an anime big titty VTuber to get what you want. Am I jealous of my contemporaries who have done better than I am, like Double D and Harmony Ginger? Of course I am. These Johnny come latelys come along and kick my ass. That hurts. That hurts to see, but I don't begrudge them. They worked the system better than I could. They had a greater support network. They had greater financial network. They had a greater amount of people who are willing to help them. It's tough being a liberal in the tabletop role-playing game community, considering so many of my contemporaries are hardline conservatives. It's tough being openly LGBTQT, because apparently being LGBTQT or asexual isn't cool anymore. It's tough not having the wherewithal to create the stuff that is, looks polished, because I don't have that money. I don't have the money to make it that. That's always been a problem for me. And I was always hoping that I would get, some type of support, and that didn't happen. And I said I was going to start petering off because this isn't really going anywhere. And yeah, you can see that I've been changing stuff. But I don't know. I don't know what the future of the channel is. I don't know what's going to happen if I don't reach that 2,000 subs by August 4th. So yeah, I wonder, spam risk. I wonder if I should answer this. 442-348-6357. Let's see who it is. Hola. 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 Nope. No, dear. Guess they didn't like my bad Spanish thing. Somebody told me that, when you're getting spam channels to fuck with them, you should always fuck back with them. I did fuck with a spammer once, and the guy threatened my life. So you got to be careful when you fuck with them. Anyways, I don't know what else to say. I'm just rambling here. I just see these posts about the guy saying D&D is killing, dying on YouTube. And yeah, it is. It was inevitably going to die on YouTube. It was always a small niche. It got really, really big for a short period of time in the great cosmic scheme of things. And now that rush is ending, people don't have the attention span to see 27 videos talking about how wonderful the Monster Manual is. If I want to, it's like, okay, you just spend an hour, and you don't want to see 27 videos of people telling you how awful the Monster Manual is either. Okay, you just spend a half an hour telling me how awful. I don't care. I lost interest. And here's 27 other guys doing the exact same thing. So I get it. It sucks. It sucks for the big guys like Bob World Builder. Envious. It sucks for the middle tubers like, Harmony Ginger. It sucks for small VTubers like me. And it sucks for anybody wanting to come into this industry and thinking that they're going to be as the next Genie D, because you're not, guys. That you got to find a new way to do it. You got to pivot. Professor Digimaster is pivoting. Bob World Builder is pivoting. Man Shorts is pivoting. Genie D is pivoting. Critical Role is pivoting. They knew they saw it coming. God love them or God hate them. Matt Mercer, interesting people. They knew the bubble was going to burst, which is why they moved over to their own thing. That way they have complete control of everything. They get it. You can hate on them all you want, but the reason why they're changing and adapting is because as industry people, they get it. Never quit your day job. Never say no to a role. Do commercials and pivot. Understand the audience is fickle. The audience will turn on you on a dime. The D&D bubble was inevitably going to break. And we're going to be going back to a little niche, which in some ways is fine. In some ways sucks. It was, enticing to have this sudden popularity. And now it's kind of gone away. And if you're somebody who is depending upon that as your livelihood, it can be scary. It can be scary to hear this guy go, I got to find a real job or I'm going to lose my house because the D&D money isn't coming in anymore. And especially like if you're like Professor Dungeon Master, where you're dealing with cancer and medical issues and stuff like that, and also dealing with the channel changing, and then you got people telling you, you're a shit-faced liar, Professor Dungeon Master, and you just want to go, I don't need this. I don't want to hear this. So is this newsworthy? I don't know. Do you care about me talking about it? I don't know. Am I just wasting your time? Probably. Anyways, have a great day. Stay safe out there. I'll talk to you later.
Roll the dice and ride the wave. Quest and dragons, the news we crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.